In the chaotic currents of life, we often fight against the tide. We push, we strive, we exhaust ourselves trying to bend the world to our will. Daoism offers a different path. It speaks of Wu Wei, a concept often translated as non-action or effortless action. This isn't about laziness or passivity, far from it. Wu Wei is about aligning our actions with the natural flow of things, the Tao. It's the art of swimming with the current, not against it. Think of a skilled boatman who navigates a river. He doesn't power through every obstacle with brute force. Instead, he understands the water's movement and uses it to guide his vessel safely and efficiently to its destination. This profound idea finds its roots in ancient Chinese philosophy, most famously articulated in the Tao Te Ching. This classic text, attributed to the sage Lao Tzu, doesn't command us to stop doing things. Instead, it advises us to act in a way that is spontaneous and in harmony with the natural order. The core tenets of Wu Wei are beautifully simple. They call for us to act with simplicity, avoiding unnecessary complexity and overthinking. They encourage humility, recognizing that we are part of a much larger cosmic process. Above all, they teach us to follow nature's lead, observing its patterns and learning to move in sync with them, reducing friction and internal strife. When we practice Wu Wei, our actions become more effective because they are not born of struggle. They arise from a place of deep connection to the moment. It is the skilled craftsman whose hands move with an unthinking grace, shaping wood or clay as if it were an extension of his own being. There is no wasted motion, no internal conflict. He is not forcing the material into a shape, he is cooperating with it, allowing its potential to unfold. This state of flow is the essence of Wu Wei. It's about achieving the greatest results with the least amount of resistance, not by giving up, but by becoming one with the task at hand. This path asks us to let go of our rigid plans and our desperate need for control. We are so often convinced that our success depends on meticulous planning and relentless effort. Yet, the Tao Te Ching reminds us that the softest things in the world overcome the hardest things in the world. Wu Wei is this softness in action. It's the gentle leader who doesn't micromanage but instead creates an environment where their team can thrive naturally. They listen, observe, and guide with a light touch, trusting the process. This approach paradoxically grants them more influence as people respond not to force but to wisdom and genuine harmony. While Daoism looks outward to the flow of nature, Stoicism turns inward. It seeks a fortress of the mind. The Stoics had a word for this ultimate goal, Ataraxia. This Greek term translates to a state of serene calmness, a profound inner tranquility. It's not about being numb to the world or devoid of feeling. Rather, Ataraxia is the peace that comes from understanding what is truly within our control and what is not. It is the unshakable stability of a soul that cannot be disturbed by external events, whether they are fortunes or misfortunes. This is the inner citadel that a Stoic strives to build, brick by mental brick. The foundations of this idea were laid by thinkers like Epictetus, a former slave who taught that our freedom lies in our responses. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, wrote his meditations as a personal guide to achieving this state amidst the pressures of ruling an empire. Seneca, a statesman and advisor, wrote letters on how to face adversity with courage and reason. Their collective wisdom points to a clear method. To reach ataraxia, we must relentlessly practice the dichotomy of control. We must constantly ask ourselves, is this thing in my power? If it is not, like the weather, the opinions of others, or our own mortality, we must practice acceptance. The pursuit of ataraxia is an active, daily discipline. It involves training our perception to see events objectively, without layering them with panicked judgments. When something challenging happens, the untrained mind reacts with fear or anger. The Stoic in training pauses. They see the event for what it is, a neutral fact. Then they focus entirely on their response, which is the only domain they command. This practice is not about suppressing emotions, it's about understanding them and not letting them hijack our reason. It's the difference between feeling a wave of anger and being swept away by it. The Stoic acknowledges the wave and chooses not to drown. This inner peace is earned, not given. It requires constant vigilance and self-reflection. One of the key Stoic practices is journaling or writing for oneself, as Marcus Aurelius did. This exercise allows us to untangle our thoughts, question our initial impressions, and reinforce our principles. By examining our fears and anxieties on the page, we rob them of their power. We see them for what they are, products of our judgment, not external realities. Ataraxia is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that no matter what chaos unfolds outside, your inner sanctum remains untouched, protected by reason and virtue. At first glance, Wu Wei and Ataraxia seem to be aiming for the same thing, a life of peace amidst the chaos of the world. Both philosophies offer an antidote to the anxiety and stress that come from trying to control the uncontrollable. They are both powerful tools for finding stillness in a noisy world. However, the paths they propose diverge in their fundamental approach. Wu Wei is a path of harmony, of dissolving the self into the greater flow of the Tao. It asks us to look outward, to observe nature, and to align ourselves with its effortless, powerful rhythm. It is a philosophy of surrender and trust in a process larger than ourselves. Ataraxia, on the other hand, is a path of reason and self-control. It is about building an impregnable fortress within the mind. The focus is internal. Stoicism doesn't ask us to harmonize with nature in a mystical sense, but to understand the nature of the world through logic. It teaches us to differentiate, to analyze, and to fortify our own character against external shocks. Where Wu Wei sees the self as something to be blended with the universe, Ataraxia sees the self, specifically our faculty of reason, as the one thing to be perfected and protected. It's a philosophy of resilience and rational self-mastery. The contrast is clear in how each philosophy views action. For a practitioner of Wu Wei, the right action is spontaneous, intuitive, and flows without conscious effort. It is like a dancer who is so in tune with the music that they are no longer thinking about the steps. The action feels effortless because the ego has stepped aside. For the Stoic, the right action is deliberate and rooted in virtue. It is a conscious choice made after careful judgment, guided by the principles of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It's the soldier who stands their ground, not out of instinct, but out of a reasoned commitment to duty. So, do we choose the flowing river or the unbreachable fortress? The Daoist sage would find peace by becoming one with the river, feeling its power as their own. The Stoic sage would find peace by standing firmly on the riverbank, observing the churning water without being swept away by it. One path seeks peace through integration, the other through insulation. Wu Wei is about letting go of the self, while Ataraxia is about mastering the self. Both lead to a state of tranquility, but they arrive there from opposite directions, offering humanity two distinct and profound maps to navigate the complexities of existence. In our hyper-connected, fast-paced modern world, the search for peace can feel more urgent than ever. Both Wu Wei and Ataraxia offer practical, timeless solutions. It is crucial, however, to clear up common misunderstandings. Wu Wei is not an excuse for idleness or apathy. It is not about sitting back and letting things happen. It's a sophisticated form of engagement, a way of acting with maximum effectiveness by minimizing internal resistance. Think of a brilliant software coder in a state of flow, or a parent who intuitively knows when to step in and when to let their child figure things out on their own. This is Wu Wei in action, intelligent, responsive, and deeply effective. Similarly, Ataraxia is not a cold, emotionless state. It's not about becoming a robot, incapable of love or joy. The Stoics were not unfeeling, they simply refused to be a slave to their feelings. A Stoic can feel grief, but they will not be destroyed by it. They can experience anger, but they will not let it dictate their actions. Consider a first responder who remains calm and focused during a crisis. They are not devoid of emotion, they are channeling their energy into a rational, helpful response. Or think of someone who receives harsh criticism, but chooses to evaluate it calmly for any truth instead of reacting defensively. This is Ataraxia emotional resilience, not emotional absence. How can we apply these principles today? Practicing Wu Wei might look like tackling a complex project by breaking it down and focusing on one small, flowing step at a time, rather than being paralyzed by the whole. It could be a manager who stops micromanaging and starts trusting their team, fostering an environment of natural productivity. Practicing Ataraxia could be as simple as starting your day by reminding yourself what is and is not in your control. It could be pausing before reacting to a provocative email or using a journal to process your anxieties instead of letting them run wild in your mind. Ultimately, you don't have to choose one path exclusively. Both Wu Wei and Ataraxia offer powerful tools for a better life. They are two different languages describing the same universal human need for peace. Whether you find it by aligning with the natural flow of the universe or by fortifying the citadel of your mind, the goal is the same: to navigate the storms of life with grace and tranquility. In an age of constant distraction and anxiety, this ancient wisdom is not just relevant, it is essential. It provides a compass pointing us toward a more serene and meaningful existence.